I usually work on a lot of big projects to small projects from companies like Budweiser, Samsung, OnePlus, Adobe, ADPList, and even more. Oh, it's not a hobby anymore, or it's not just for grades anymore. It's someone's business, it's someone's livelihood. Someone is going to start earning because of this logo. If you're just learning on your own, you're not going to get anywhere in your life. You don't know the world outside of you. They'll treat me like a queen, because maybe I'm like the founder of the studio or whatever, but they don't treat my employees well when they're talking with them. There have been like just situations where I had to fire clients because they were not good people. I'm very sure people will then think about it like, oh, Maitreyee is one of those people who used to work with like big clients and now she's just making logos for like 2,000 rupees or whatever. It doesn't matter for me because I really don't think what they care if my bread and butter is not again coming in. But that's one of the best.
Hello Maitreyee, how's it going? How are you doing? It's super nice having you on the show.
I'm good. How are you? And thank you so much for having me.
I'm doing good. I actually got to know about you quite a while ago. I think some 3-4 years ago maybe. And that's because of the Young Gun series on YouTube. It's been a while. But yeah, that's where I got introduced, and kudos to you. You've come so far. You're doing so awesome.
Oh, thank you.
We'll get into all of that today.
Yes.
So why don't we start with like an introduction?
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone, my name is Maitreyee Kalaskar. I am from Pune, but I'm based in Bangalore right now. I run a small independent studio and I'm a multidisciplinary designer, illustrator and director, and I usually work on a lot of big projects to small projects from companies like Budweiser, Samsung, OnePlus, Adobe, ADPList and even more.
Sweet, that's short and sweet.
Yeah.
We'll get into more. So what I kind of know is that you didn't like academics, right? So were you creative from the start? Like, did the creative world attract you more?
Yeah, of course. I think in my family we have a lot of creative people anyways, so it wasn't anything like frowned upon or anything, or like, oh, why are you choosing a creative field, or there was no question in that way. So I think it was kind of just accepted, like, oh, she'll become an illustrator or a designer or something. And at that point I hated studies, I think, like most designers or most artists, and it was very selective. So it wasn't like, oh, I just hated maths always. Sometimes I used to get good grades in maths, sometimes I used to get good grades in like science, sometimes I used to just fail. I'm like, so it was mostly mood nahi hai, that situation. I don't want to study right now thing going on. But yeah, I think I slowly just started to sketch a lot and watch a lot of movies. I think Disney, Pixar and all of them were pretty famous back then, as well as Ghibli studios. I remember one of my first was My Neighbor Totoro, which I watched when I was a little kid, and I loved it. And at that point I was like, oh, I think I would love to get into the creative fields more.
Very interesting, because it's contrary to how I started. So
really?
I was properly into academics, and I never realized that I could be artistic or creative. It was never in the realm of thought. It was like engineering, maybe doctor, because you're good with biology and all. Yeah. I'm like, sure, I guess. Then things happened and I found Chrisdo, and honestly life has been changed because of the entire Future channel. Just one YouTube channel changing so much. But yeah, so for me, creativity has almost been like a revelation to myself. I never knew that this was possible from me, and it's very interesting what an amazing mentor can do. And I would love to get into that. Like, you have mentioned this before, Chris, Matthew, both of them, they've kind of, you can say, shaped your journey almost, right? It's very interesting. Can you expand on that, the need for good mentors?
I think mentors is one of the biggest thing anyone can ever choose in their lives, and I think it is one of the most important things you can ever do is getting a mentor. And I feel as someone who is from India specifically, I've always been looking for people who can teach me more. And even though I have a degree in fine arts, in graphic design mostly, and I learned everything in my degree, but I still felt the college I was learning it from, or like similar colleges around me as well in that area or in that field, they didn't have exactly what I was looking for. I had a lot of questions, but not all teachers were that experienced to give me good answers about it, and which they don't have to, because they already have so much in their curriculum that they have to kind of tell us like the principles of it or the base of it, which was really well done for me from my college. But you have so many questions, and not one person can give you all the answers. So one of the things that I looked forward to was I need somebody I can look up to, and it shouldn't be like one person. It should be a couple of them, so that I can get a lot of perspectives in my life. Um, and as one does, it was 2013 or something. I just Googled or went on YouTube and just searched if I can find something on design, or someone who is talking about design. And at that point, there were like just two people or like two YouTube channels talking about design. This is like early 2013 or early 2014 or something. Um, and it was very basic. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But I think as slowly I started to follow these two guys who were talking about design strategies and research. I'm like, why is somebody thinking so much when it comes to art or design? I had no idea like so much thought process can actually go into designing a logo or something, because no one told that to me, or I was just learning about it. And
it's intuitively just not with us that brand strategy can be a thing.
Yeah,
someone doesn't express that to us.
Exactly. And I think as a kid, or as someone who saw a lot of movies, I just thought like people started drawing randomly, a mouse talking to a dog or something, and that became Mickey Mouse or something. And there was like, storytelling, storyboarding, mood boarding, color theories, color palettes. There are so many things that goes behind a production, and I'm like, it makes sense that it might also go behind a logo design or something. And that's how I came across Prisdo and his channel with Jose, I think, at that time. And I'm so glad I came across them and I connected with them, and because of that I came across James Gunn and Matthew Encina and Ben Burns and amazing people out there. And I'm so happy that even virtually they started to mentor me so much before I actually connected with them. So we all need mentors in our life.
I mean, you stumbled upon them almost serendipitously. For me, it was all thanks to the YouTube algorithm. I think it was the 2018-ish time. And like it was like them creating peak content. They're still going strong. At that time, I just got recommended a video. So at that time, I was almost panicking, you can say, almost in life. As in, what should I do career-wise? I was pretty distraught, and I was going for drop shipping, print on demand, just so many things. And then I see this video. I think it was his Adobe Max talk, if I'm not wrong, which is how to price a logo, I think. That just opened a new world, as in, wait, you can charge a lot for a logo, and there's ways to do it. It's just opened a new Pandora's box. And ever since, the entire team, just the dynamic of how the team functioned, how Chris would talk to everyone, how everyone would give their opinions. It was just virtual mentorship, and I'm sure Chris has just impacted so many designers across the entire world. It's just amazing.
Definitely, yeah.
Coming from a family of creative disciplines with like the freelance background, right? How did that help your journey? Was it easier taking the freelance risk?
I would say it's definitely easier for me to continue the freelance journey, because that's what I've seen in my family mostly. I've rarely seen 9 to 5 family members. So, but the other thing is like, I still do feel like I do want to join a team, I do want to join a studio, but the thing of, like, because I grew up with people doing freelancing, and I still think like, that's the normal thing. Or I've seen my grandfather doing architecture, like freelance jobs and everything, and I still feel like that's the norm, right? But when I started to see like my friends and other people in our family going to 9 to 5, it just doesn't sit right with me, even still. But slowly, I think when I started to have a routine and started to have a lot of retainer clients and started to work in their time from 9 to 5 for them, I think I started to understand, this is actually a good way to understand where life starts or where work starts and work ends. Because as a freelancer, work never ends.
Right.
And that's really sad. I sometimes feel that is definitely a big reason that I sometimes get so overwhelmed by work or so tired because of work, because I don't have a start and an end. It's just going on in my head. And I think maybe 9 to 5 would be a good place for me to learn from a lot of people, and I think it would be a good place to understand even how in a dedicated time or in a dedicated routine you can actually get so many things done. You don't need always like flexibility let's just wait for the deadline to come or something.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I mean, has its perks, has its downsides, surely. But you did work for, I think, 2 years in a
Yeah.
company, in an agency. How was that
Yes.
experience?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think that was my first 9 to 5 ever.
Mhm.
I think the only 9 to 5 ever. And I feel that is a place. So they are more into exhibition design, expo design and stuff, and they were into identity design as well. But because it was a small agency, it was a small studio, I learned to put a lot of hats. So I was also traveling sometimes with the founders. I was going there to, just write down minutes of the meeting kind of thing, like what's actually happening. I saw them pitch to a lot of clients, and I also learned how to build a PC, or like something just went off with the motherboard, or let's just look into it, or there is this one French client that we are working with, and they need a 3D design for a specific expo. Can you just see how we can convert it into their metrics or something? It was so many things to learn, and learning this beforehand in a small studio is one of the best things someone can ever do when you are just starting out. Because if it's too easy for you when you're just starting out, that would be a comfort zone. So after that, it would be really difficult for you if you start getting challenges like, oh, why am I getting challenges now in my life?
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, from that angle, it really makes sense. Getting that
Yeah.
hands-on experience at the first kind of, you can say, toughens you up for the journey.
Yeah.
Very much. Very interesting. So I would like to know your opinion on this, because
Mhm.
I'm someone in college, and it's been like, I think the next year will be the 5th year of me like learning design, being in part of the design world. But I've never worked under someone, and I'm creating my studio, working on it. So as an advice, would you say that the hands-on experience trumps a lot of learnings that one can have just starting out themselves? Is it really that important?
Yes. If you're just learning on your own, you're not going to get anywhere in your life. You don't know the world outside of you, because you're just you every single day. Trust me, I've been there. Like, I've done the whole solo, independent, I don't need anyone kind of a design journey, as well as I have like 20 to 50 people working all over the world, and working on big projects and everything. And the most I've grown is when I had people above me as well. Because again, mentorship, you always need people coming in and telling you like, this is something that you can push ahead with, but this is of too much of a risk. Why are you going there? Right? And because I'm not saying you're not always capable of doing it. It's just that when you start having that only one perspective in your head, you sometimes forget that there might be other people who might be smarter than you. Because it's always you, right? Every single day, in and out. So I think that's a very good place to, because I've also hired people who are smarter than me. I always love to hire people who are smarter than me, because otherwise it's just me preaching, right?
Right.
What's the fun in that? I don't see a growth in that at all for me, or like for the studio or for the project. So hiring people who are smarter than me is like the most important thing I think I've always done, and I would love to keep on doing it. And that would be like, oh, I've made it. That's the thing. Like I can hire somebody more expensive than me and more smarter than me. That means even they believe in me, and I really want to grow as well. That shows that path of, oh, I don't want to be a narcissist anymore. Trust me, I've been there, so I know.
I just hope other studio owners are as positive and as looking forward to challenging oneself and
They
growing
are.
as you are.
No, they are. Trust me. Whenever I've spoken to a lot of other studio owners who are senior studio owners, not someone on my level or juniors, because I feel you need to have certain experience to start a studio. So whenever I've spoken with people who are senior than me, who are studio owners for like years, or have even sold their studio for millions, that's just told me the same thing. Like, be humble. You don't know everything. If you start understanding that you know everything, and you go into that whole mindset of like, I am it, right? Then there is no growth from there, because you are just stopping yourself like you are it. There is nothing above you. And I think that's that's not the right way to go. Specifically, I feel always like a studio owner or someone who is the head of the business in general, who's bringing the work and stuff. That person should be the most humble person ever in the whole. Because in the end, you are working for you. Other people are also working for you. So you are such a center of the solar system that it's easier for you to have that God complex.
Very much.
You know. Yeah, rather than like, oh, I'm the foundation of whatever I'm building on top, and that's why I have to be very strong.
That's a great distinction. Yeah.
You know,
You have to understand you're a
yeah.
founder and you're at the foundation, and you are there to improve things and not run things around you. So,
Yeah.
it is a dilemma that can happen, surely.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people also expect, like founders I've seen, also expect that um, my employees should work a little bit over the weekends as well, or after 6 as well and stuff. And I hated that analogy always, because I'm like, they are working for you, you are working for yourself. So your passion might be different than theirs. They are just there for a 9 to 5.
Right.
So you can't expect them to have a 24/7 like you, because I'm sure they are not getting the same benefits. They are not earning the same amount of money. They are not getting the same popularity or whatever that you are getting out of all of this. They are fireable. They are hireable. You are permanent in your studio. So all these benefits don't apply to them. So you can't expect the same hard work from them as well. So yeah, most of the times I also start my work at 10 with my team, 10:30, 11, and we have a hard cutoff at 6:30. There are like just 1 or 2 times max, not even in a month, where we have to kind of work till, let's say, 7:30 or 8. But weekends, I always say no to the clients. Like, we are not going to work on the weekends. And if the work comes, it's me who's working. So, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, from the startup angle, it gets even more and more complex the more startup-ish we talk. Because then you can say, like, to make their case, the founder is putting in all the risk, all the almost mental harassment that they have to go through trying to create something in the market. So yeah, that conversation is really fun. We can get into that sometime else. I would like to get your opinion on something along these lines of learning design, which is you have seen this explosion of the self-taught designers in the industry, and you have design education. So if you had to kind of point to some things or give us a glimpse into what self-taught designers might be missing out on.
Environment, a creative environment. That's it. I feel the one thing that I miss out from my college days now is having a community and having an environment. And that's one of the reasons why I've started the workshop that I'm doing in Bangalore nowadays, because similar-minded people kind of come and work together. That is the one thing I feel everyone should have. In my college days, all 4 years, going every single day to one class where one person is painting, one person is doing a photography, one person is doing something 3D, seeing so much creativity around you, just, even you started getting inspired every single day, and you start talking with these people on how they use this technique and all of that stuff. And but yeah, working every single day on one project or one button or whatever, if you're working on, after a while it will take toll on you, and you'll also question yourself if you're being creative or not. And I think self-taught designers are again the same thing, me, it's always you, and I think creativity is all about experiencing everything. So one of my mottos always is like experience and experiment. But you can't experience if you don't even experiment about your environment, right?
Totally.
So having communities, meetups, again, mentors, different mentors, doing a lot of courses, but not just online. I would suggest like go to a lot of workshops or maybe get a course somewhere. It's not about the course itself. It's about the people who you will meet usually. So I think that's the only thing that mostly people miss.
Makes so much sense, and maybe we're hitting a chord somewhere, which is this can also be a bedrock kind of why we are seeing so much of creative burnout in the industry.
Yeah.
There's talks of it, everyone's going through it. You're right, maybe that's
even case. I go through it. One of the reasons why I'm doing the whole meetup and workshops, because I feel even when I go and meet a lot of people, I also teach one of the colleges in Kormangla. So whenever I go and see my juniors, my students, or I'm on jury for some exam or something, I just understand that, wow, like where did that passion grow? I know I had that passion in me. Where did that go? And kind of looking at people who are continuously creating without hesitation around you with full confidence, specifically students, right? You just feel like, oh man,
right? We often
I'm missing out these things.
Just being around people is actually mentally helpful so much.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That makes sense. You actually started pretty early, right? You started getting clients in the second year. How was that feeling of executing, the first client project? Tell us about that.
I think I was pretty much on a high because of the paycheck I saw. Oh shit, like I'm getting paid for this, I think it was again 2013 end or early 2014 if I'm not wrong. It was like my mom's friend who needed a logo or something, and I'm like, sure, I'll do it for you. I don't mind. And I got like 5,000 rupees paid, which was a lot of money for someone who is just starting out. And yeah, that was like, I've done logos for far more less after that. But
Sure.
having that also gave me a big responsibility that, oh, it's not a hobby anymore, or it's not just for grades anymore. It's someone's business, it's someone's livelihood. Someone is going to start earning because of this logo. So it's not only fun anymore. So that's the reason why I started to kind of understand, or like look for where I can find these things and what things I should be looking for.
It almost instilled a business level seriousness in you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Interesting. And from that to now working with Adobe, Samsung, UCLA, OnePlus, I mean, just endless.
Yeah.
Take us through this journey, getting to these big name clients. How did this happen?
I feel lucky in a way. Like most of the clients have come to me. So I'm very, very happy about that. I'm not good with outreach. I am not good with outbound specifically, or like cold emails. I've done it like personally just a couple of times. I have hired a lot of people for like business development and everything. It didn't turn out well. They have emailed from my side or like from my studio side, but nothing comes out of it. I'm good with networks. I'm good with people. I talk with people a lot. So I think most of the clients that I usually receive are because they trust me and they have worked with me before. And it's usually because, let's say I work with you, and if that goes on very well, then you'll be like, oh, I've worked with Maitreyee, she's really good. If you want something like this, you can just reach out to her. So it's mostly like a community that you build in network, but it's a professional community. It's very straightforward, it's very professional, and it's kind of where you build trust. And once you build trust, I think trust is the most important thing. So I think one thing Chris also told me about very early on is people always go with the less risky option.
Totally.
And they don't go for the best. Yeah, they don't go for the best option ever. And I always personally feel I'm not the best designer out there, and I'm never going to be the best designer out there, or like the best illustrator out there, because every single second someone new is coming out in this industry. Every single second, Bangalore is a hub for studios and stuff and startups. Every single day, maybe someone's starting a new studio. Why should people come to me if I'm not the best person then, or like best designer? So there are other factors that come in, like you are good at strategy, you are good at understanding their business, you are a good person to talk to, you listen well, they can trust you, you'll be professional, you'll be transparent. There are a lot of things than just being a good designer for running a studio or like being an independent designer.
It's always reassuring, these conversations, because I've spoken to designers, studios, independent studios who just swear by outreach. They're like, I can do outreach and I do that really good and it works.
Yeah.
And then there's amazing designers like you and many other studios who are like, we tap into a good, we create, we nurture a network, and slowly word of mouth, inbound always kicks in. So it's always reassuring, right? Kritika?
There's another friend of mine, you can check her work out, Charmi Shah. She's amazing, and she swears by reaching out to people and because she has amazing work, and I'm sure people just come to her for it, but reaching out has never worked for me, and that gave me a depression for a very long time. Like most of my friends reach out to people and they're getting big clients. Why am I not getting the same amount of traction? But that's the reason why even like Instagram, I started Instagram, like I'll get a lot of clients. I don't get clients from Instagram. So that's why Instagram is like my scrapbook. I literally don't get Instagram working for me.
Now you've put me.
Oh no, so that's the thing. I'll tell you one thing, start everything. But don't think about it from a money perspective right now.
Yes.
Just think about from a perspective that you're sharing it right now with people. And there are a couple of things that you can keep in mind, like your audience, who you're writing to. So a lot of people who are just starting out want to do the whole Chris Do thing of like quotes and everything. I'm like, why? We are just starting out. We don't have that experience to do that. We have one Chris, or like we have Michael, and they have had their years of experience and awards and everything to teach us all of this. So why are you doing it when you don't even know, or you've not even worked in the industry for that long, or even a couple of years now? So understand who you are reaching out to. So they are doing all of this for designers, but if you also start doing it for designers, you're never going to get clients, right? You'll always attract designers mostly. So you kind of have to understand on who you are doing it for. If it's just for yourself, putting the quotes out there and designing them, great. But you cannot do something for yourself and then expect a different outcome. So most of the times I am reaching out to, let's say, senior designers. If I'm writing articles on LinkedIn, it's mostly for clients. It's mostly for, let's say, brand owners, how you can find designers, or how you can reach out to studios or certain things, or like even communities. I rarely do top 3 tools you can use in Illustrator or something. Very rarely. I would love to do it once, but yeah, very rarely I do it.
Makes sense. I've kind of bucketed them as, like burger content, pizza
Yeah.
content, broccoli
Yeah.
content. So yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. I wanted to know if there's anything common among all these, big name clients. You've worked with ADPList and like the event work, right? Like you completed it within a freaking week. So that's kudos to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Then the
11 days
Samsung
or
thing
13
was
days.
Samsung thing, as you mentioned, right? It was a great opportunity. It was pretty scary as well, but you pulled that off. Has there been any common learning, any common key takeaway?
I'm very lazy. Very lazy. Super lazy. And I'm the laziest person known in my family. And because I'm lazy, I sometimes feel like, oh, I'll do this tomorrow. Or right now, it just feels scary to do it now. Maybe I do a lot of research, right? So I'll spend like 98% of time doing just research, and that 2% of my time is actually executing stuff. But slowly, when I started to understand that research means nothing if I don't actually take action on it, then I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like 98% action, 2% research. Sometimes gets you more solutions or gets you more answers. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think I have this one poster as well. I did it for myself, which is inaction is poison. I think it stuck very well, but it's called Inaction is Poison. And I'm like, that was made for myself. And I printed it out for myself and it's there. I'm like, inaction is poison. Okay, I have to take action now. So taking action is the biggest thing you can ever do.
So resonate with it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I would even suggest don't even think about consistency. A lot of people think about consistency is key. I just say take action as much as you can. Take a qualitative action first and then go for quantity.
Totally. Yeah, that's like one of those quotes in the startup industry. The biggest killer of startups is not customer acquisition cost or branding, marketing, tech. It's the fear in your mind, the inaction.
Yeah.
So I want to get into how to get clients. It's a very common question, and we'll come to that. But before that, it's very interesting. But because since you've worked with so many clients, I would like to know what are like the red flags one should be careful of when talking to potential clients. How do you choose the right client, basically?
I think the very basics of it is like someone who doesn't want to sign a contract is like the very basic of it. They don't want to sign a contract. They're like, oh, we are not that professional or something. That means you don't want to work with them because tomorrow coming in, they'll be just, we want more scope and we won't pay you money and all of this stuff. So, like a basic rule of thumb is always have a contract with you before starting anything. People who don't want to pay you in advance is another red flag. So at least for me, I always go 50-50, 50% advance, 50% later on when the project is almost complete. But if the amount is too much, then it is usually split in 3 sections. But people who don't want to pay you in advance, that means something is off. They want work happening, but they don't want to pay you. That means something is there, right? And other than that, I feel there are some other personal, they're not good as a person. That is another red flag that even I've recently also come across for a couple of clients, they'll treat me like a queen, because maybe I'm like the founder of the studio or whatever, but they don't treat my employees well when they're talking with them. And which I hate. And you would be shocked that it comes from like bigger clients most of the times. Like the bigger the client is, the more I think I've seen ego coming up while working. And there have been like just situations where I had to fire clients because they were not good people, or just not talking with my teammates that well, which just offended me very much. So yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, it's humans working with humans.
Exactly.
You have to understand that. Right?
Yeah, and like it's not the problem of the brand per se. It's maybe who they have hired. Maybe they are good internally, but sometimes their own personality comes in, definitely, because they're not robots in the end. So their own personality comes in because we are vendors for them, right? We are like an outside agency or outside help for them.
Right.
So they sometimes feel like, oh, if we are spending so much money or throwing so much money in their faces, they should be available to us at 11 or 12 midnight or something. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've had like this, I've had people telling me, like literally last year, you shouldn't be in the design industry at all. You are like one of the worst people we have always worked with, and it has been that bad. Just because you say no to us to work at 9 p.m. or something. And I'm like, I'm out with my family right now. And I think it was Diwali or something. And everybody was on holiday. But they were like, oh, that's life, Maitreyee. Get over it. I'm like, wow. You know what? Take your money and leave. We don't want to work with you.
Some people just,
No, and literally, like one of those people also said to me, like, I'm gonna post these conversations on LinkedIn. I'm like, please tag me when you do. You are in the right in most of these things, right?
Yes.
When you have nothing to hide, yeah, sure, go for it.
Interesting. Which also brings us to this part of the conversation, which is what kind of clients should designers take? So I'll tell you something. There's this brand by Kourtney Kardashian called Lemmy. And
Oh yeah.
I actually didn't know that it was like a year old or something. And me and my friend Gurjinder, we do this design unscripted series. So we got on to, just critiquing and talking about the strategy and the design aspect. So the design was pretty good. It looked new. It had a friendly charm to it, and it was some sort of scientific product. That's where my first suspicion went there. And the more I got into it, it's basically a scientific mumbo jumbo wrapped into some sort of gummies scam. You can call it a scam as much as it is legally not a scam, but it is almost a scam. So it was pretty heartbreaking to see that. And so if you're a designer, should you take up that job, take up that strategy, that product, that identity? It's very difficult.
There are again two things that come in here, which is one is morals and other is bread and butter.
Right.
Right?
It's a very difficult situation.
It's very difficult. And people usually say like, oh, how can you work with these people? I'm like, you don't know what that designer is going through. They might have debts. They might have their parents who are on deathbeds. They might have a lot of hospital bills. They don't have maybe a place to stay. There are so many things that might happening. So if that is paying your survival bill, good for you. But you can always have like a contract with them saying that you are just doing the design part of it and you are not going to take any other responsibility other than the design that gets approved by them. So it's fine, like, because not all people are going to be good, but if you have the tendency or like if you have the flexibility to have morals financially, then I'd say go for it. You can also teach them like this is not the right thing to do.
It's also interesting, right? Because they're often not able to take up moral actions because of not having the finances, which is something really...
I mean, again, let me tell you one thing, like I'm very sure like even like bigger brands who a lot of designers have worked with, there's not going to be like complete transparency ever. I'm very sure there are like really bad, behind the scenes happening. It's just we don't know it right now, right? There are so many designers or illustrators or artists who collab with top fashion brands. Those fashion brands are not good if you see the morality of it. But if you start seeing morality of everything, we're not going to earn anything.
Yeah, it becomes a more ideological way of doing design. Then you are more so an artist. Then you should just raise your voice and do that, because that will be then much more beneficial for the society itself instead of
exactly. Then you have to kind of then understand your field as well, right? Then I'll just work with NGOs, but then you have to also understand that NGOs don't have money as much, or you have to do a lot of work for free. But then that's the thing, you have to find your own balance. I'm not saying that you have to work if that doesn't go into your morals, but again, if your survival is kind of on the line, then yeah, definitely. And because like design industry is not cheap. Like getting into this is not cheap. You need highest processors, highest graphic cards, and if you're working in 3D and everything, or you need good cameras if you're doing any vlogging or shooting.
People underestimate the tech angle of it actually.
Exactly. It's so much money. Or like if you want to pay even your softwares, it's expensive. So
Adobe, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
Making billions, come on.
Exactly. So it is expensive, and I understand like why people cannot say no, and it's even wrong to expect someone to turn a paycheck down just for morals. Like for survival, people can do anything, and they should. It's fine. It's survival.
And that's why we made sure that we are completely respecting the designer, because I mean, if you're a designer, we'll judge you on that, and the design was pretty good. But the blame is on Kourtney, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, like design, a lot of times people feel like design is everything. Like right now, if you see what Jaguar is doing, right? We exactly don't know what their future intel is yet. So we cannot do anything, like a logo cannot predict anything. And like I've seen a lot of designers talking about it, like their sales were not good.
Yeah, not
So
at all.
when this is happening, I'm very sure like people are going to think about I need change, or like our company needs change now. And again, like if a survival of a company is in question, there are no
Yeah.
bounds there.
I think they just panic too hard and imagine too
Exactly.
much. And yeah,
Like
just messed it
imagine
up.
if tomorrow I have no clients, I really won't mind taking up like a logo design for like few bucks or something, because that's just getting me money. And I'm very sure people will then think about it like, oh, some Maitreyee is one of those people who used to work with like big clients and now she's just making logos for like 2,000 rupees or whatever. It doesn't matter for me, because I really don't think what they care if my bread and butter is not again coming in. But that's one of the best things that you can do, is having a good financial net for yourself, which actually would help you to say no for your own morals and principles.
Totally. Makes sense. And that brings us to the conversation of getting clients. What's diving into it is probably just one different podcast, and we can do that sometime. Maybe. But what's like your overall advice, the general advice?
Put your work out there. I think people won't hire you if they don't know what you exactly do.
Totally.
Put your work out there, and just be a good person when you're talking with other people. I'm very sure like people go through tons of their own busy lifestyles or stuff, because right now I'm looking for apartments, I'm trying to move, or I'm always traveling, and I have tons of health issues as well. So because of all of this and work and stuff, I'm pretty busy. But whenever I'm talking to a lot of people, I would want to be like one of the good people's that, or like, yeah, they just came across, or yeah, just be good. I think, or be genuine. There are very few people who actually are genuine on LinkedIn and stuff. So be genuine, be very straightforward on what you can do, and also understand from their perspective that if they say no, if they tell you like I cannot get you as a designer, or we cannot get you as a studio because this is a little bit more expensive than we thought. You have to kind of also understand that if you can take it or not. There have been tons of times where I've worked for a lot of people for less money, but because I worked with them when they were in their hard time, they've hired me again and again in the future, because she believed in us when we had nothing, you know.
Makes sense.
So even you have to also be that reciprocative from your end sometimes. So be flexible in a way where even you are not too rigid on a lot of your things, and also make sure that as a designer you don't have a style. Like illustration is a different thing, but as a designer you don't have a style, because I don't think no two of your clients wants to look alike. So that's also very sad if they are paying you the same money to make them look like another designer or another client of yours. So be flexible, show them your reach, or like your range as well. So yeah, put your work out there, be experimental.
One thing, kind of a line that I always tell myself is, if I'm in my normal state, it takes effort to be kind, it takes effort to be nasty. Why don't I just be
Exactly. Be neutral. You don't even have to be kind.
Yeah.
Be neutral. It's
It
fine.
helps, it always helps. In the long term, it always helps.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you don't have to be always good, or like you don't have to be always like kind, but you don't have to be nasty as well, right?
Right.
Be neutral. Just say hi, hello. Like even you have been reaching out to me for a very consecutive amount of time, and I was feeling so sad, like, oh shit, I'm not been able to give him time. But even I had so many commitments going on. But at that point, I was not too nice to you as well, saying like, oh, I'm so sorry, or this and that, you know. But I'm like, can we maybe do it on Sunday at this time or Saturday at this time? Would that work with you? Right? I was like,
I get what
be
you
a
mean.
bit more actionable rather than let's do it one day, or you know. But yeah, I think it depends.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
Is there something bugging you about the current way the design industry is headed? One thing I'll tell you that kind of bugs me is that, this almost this monodisciplinary behavior right now, that I'll just do one thing and I know that one thing, and everything else is kind of, I don't care.
Can you give me an example?
Maybe I'm a UI designer. I only know about UI design systems, the Apple one, and that's about it. That's all I care about. I don't want to learn. I don't want to challenge myself. I see this with primarily young ones.
Yeah, that happens. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people think, because product design definitely gets in a lot of money, and I think that's the reason why a lot of the young generation is trying to go into the product design part of it, because they don't know the amount of money that is there in graphic design or illustration. If you see the amount of money there is in illustration only, it's like
I've heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah, your 5 month salary in one illustration sometimes.
totally. Yeah.
So people just don't know about it firstly, and I think they just again a lot of online mentors or YouTubers are into product design. So it kind of when you start seeing so many people in product design talking about Apple, or all these bigger UIs or all of this, and it's easy to get influenced and manipulated to just do one thing. But it's really great if you're trying to specialize. You know good for them, because I know a lot of even people who just do like they just do illustration and they just do their own style. There is no other style for them, and they earn way more than what you and me earn. So you kind of have to understand if you're a specialist or a generalist, how multidisciplinary designer you are, or how solo you are on your style or on your field. Again, it's very completely personal, and my thinking about it might be really different than yours.
Sure.
So it's completely fine. And I think if you're going to a job till you become a senior designer, I think it is expected for people to kind of know a lot of things but specialize in one thing. But I've also seen like the more senior you become, you do specialize in one thing, but you are again expected to know like different sets of things in the business realm of it. Because I've done a lot of creative direction for a lot of bigger agencies and studios and companies, but at that point, design is definitely expected from me. But more than that, it's creative direction to different creative field people. So I'm also directing 3D people, I'm also directing 4D people, or photographers and prop people, or like videographers and everything. So yeah, it's just going to be like generalist specialists here and there. And yeah, I would just say again, experiment as much as you can. Don't get stuck onto one thing. Even if you are specializing in one thing, have a look out on other things that are happening, because again, like I'm saying, like every single second someone is coming new in this industry, and what makes you stand out is the most important thing for you and your next job or next paycheck.
Totally. This was such an amazing conversation. To end it on a, you can say, happier, dreamier note is, what are like your sources of inspiration? How do you keep yourself inspired?
Travels, I think, or movies and games. So yeah.
All fun ones.
I know, right? It should be fun, otherwise it just gets sad.
Interesting. It's music and art for me, maybe writing, reading. So yeah.
Nice.
All these things help always. It's not something apparent to us, somehow is helping us, but it's always helpful. Right?
Definitely, because even I have a keyboard here. I play since I was a kid, and I like playing it for like the meditation purpose of it. Yeah. It doesn't inspire me. It just is calming for me. I have tons of books I have like a random book of botany, or like what the other book that I have recently that I stole from my aunt. It is How to Grow a Bonsai. It's a very pretty book, and I got inspired by so many shapes and patterns from it right now, and the colors and all of that it has, because it's illustrated on how one person can start planting bonsai seeds and all of that. So
very interesting.
Yeah, you can get inspired by anything. And this is one makeup artist as well that I follow, and she's one of the OG makeup artists, and she gets inspired by, she has a book which is all about textures of hens, like poultry animals. And it's one photographer who has done who's clicked photos of poultry animals. So a rooster has so many different colors on his feathers, and all of that stuff, and she gets inspired by them. I'm like, oh, that's really fun,
Yes, very interesting.
So yeah,
sometimes I'll just be strumming the guitar and I'll just start humming, and mom is like, please don't hum, just go with the guitar. You'll just get into that state.
Yeah,
I kind of almost stupidly bought Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's pretty difficult, almost breaks my mind, but it's amazing.
So I started to read Nicomachean Ethics a year ago. It is good, but that's sad. But another thing that actually does help me a lot, I'm not a big of a reader at all, but there are very few books that can keep my distracting brain very focused. So one of it is philosophy. I never thought like I'd be a very philosophy person, but definitely one of the other things that another writer that I love in this realm of philosophy is Ryan Holiday. I think most of us have heard about him. So one of the books that I love of that one that he's written is called Stillness is the Key. I've read it twice now. I'm not a still person at all. And because of that book, I've become like very calm and still, and I can sit still for a very long time without fidgeting. So yeah, that helps.
I follow his videos. Pretty fun guy. I mean, he's stoic himself almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very amazing. There was this, what was the book? Courage to be Disliked. I would recommend this to everyone. As this changes the way you see adversity, changes the way you see things,
Yeah.
changes the way you see design as well in a way. Very interesting. But yes.
And Ghibli Studios as well. Just go and check out Hayao Miyazaki's sketchbooks. So they, I think, always sell how they made the movie through sketchbooks. It's like spirited away sketchbooks or like books that they usually give out, and that's fun to just go through another artist's sketchbook. It's such an intimate part. So yeah, check those out
amazing.
as well.
I just had one wish. I just wished, people like Paul Rand, Sagi Aviv, they just did more free flow conversations, more podcasts for us to learn more and get to know how they're thinking. It would have been much more fun. Just wish they did more. Right?
Because I don't think design is ever about aesthetics or visuals. It's all about thinking. It's all about how a person thinks about a certain brand or a certain customer or a consumer or a demographic, and that's how visually it gets molded. And that's one of the sad feel that I've always thought about, is like no one told it to me early on in my career. Maybe I was not supposed to know about all of this early on, maybe. But yeah, I think knowing about all of this, I started to understand that it's not only about the aesthetics. It's not only about how pretty it looks. It's a part of it, but it's like a very end part of it. Like it's a polishing part of it. So yeah.
That's amazing. It was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoyed this really.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having patience with me throughout my whole travel and like busy journey. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was nice.